Hello everyone, it's Kay here and I've got my camera book, so it's more items toward the 100 Things Challenge. And if I should get in the way of the shadow that's going across here, I do apologise in advance. It's late afternoon and I've had to put the light on because the glorious sunshine finally is gone walkabout and it's quite dimpsy this evening or late afternoon. So without further ado, I am bringing to you today number 85, which is a receipt book. I watched a video by Hot Tamale, lovely name, and she was making this receipt book. Now I know it's not her idea. There are lots and lots of tutorials on YouTube, so I won't put the usual name and link underneath because I know it wasn't her original idea, and there are many variations popping up all over the place. So if you're interested, just put in receipt book tutorial and you will find several videos there that you might be interested in. Number 86 is a steampunk style tag that I've made. 87, twinchie books. That's the little 2-inch books that I made a good while back now, but I still had some bits and pieces left over, so I've gone on to make 2 more of those. And that was originally made for the Nina Ribena art journal and prompts, and more. So that was where that idea originated from. And then I've made 2 boxed sets of stick pins. So that is 88. That will be the last one that I show you. So we'll start with number 85, which is the receipt book, and it's a lovely thing. I do have a daughter-in-law who saves every receipt that she collects when she goes shopping for whatever she shopped for, and then she keeps them in her purse, and her purse gets thicker and thicker as the time goes on. And so I thought I might just hand this over to her in the hope that it'll mean she's got somewhere to store all the receipts from her shops and so on. And it is quite a good size. It is, if I look at my instructions, 8 1/4 in length this way by 4 inches, so 8.5 by 4 inches. And then needless to say, when you put your DSP on and your decorations, that kind of thing, then what you do is cut down to give a border around for the papers. I've also made this belly band. It's very slack at the moment because I know by the time receipts go in it, it's going to fill out quite significantly. And so I wanted there to be quite a bit of room for padding. And then the paper I've used is just one of those paper pads, very cheap paper pads. I can't remember if it was from the Works or the Range, but it's done this very nicely. And I've used our English DL sized envelopes to put the book together, and it really is as simple as that. So to go on to the next page, I have just put the receipt label there. I've not bothered to put anything else on the front apart from this decorative edge with my Martha Stewart punch, because I thought, well, it's going to be heavily used. I don't want things dropping off, so keep it simple. So you go inside, and on this side of the folder I've done an envelope and just labelled food bill on the top there for groceries and that kind of thing. Now I meant to put a couple of dog clips at the top as well because you do need them, and I don't think I've got any on the table. But essentially, if you then did takeaway menus and receipts here, that would be held on with the dog clip at the top, and it's just another page for storage. Then you turn a page again, and it's drinks, any liquids you might buy in for children, fresh fruit juice, lemonades, the occasional bottle of wine, some beer, whatever you chose to add to the extras on your already busy shopping list. Sundries would be for anything else that you cared to mention, from new washing bowls to anything else that fit the bill basically, but that you didn't buy on a wholly regular basis. And then on the back page, we all like to say fuel receipts and that kind of thing, so I thought that would be a nice little area there. Needless to say, I've put my own slant on what the pockets would be used for. The, again, two plain areas are for dog clips, so that you've got, or the bulldog clips, so you can put any then that aren't utilised in any of the aforementioned slots. But I thought it was a lovely idea, and for people that do like to be extra organised, it would even be great as a Christmas planner, where you could keep receipts, keep lists of people that you'd already bought for, and your menu planner, so that you knew exactly what you had to buy. It's just such a lovely concept. I mean, I don't do Christmas to that extent, but there are people who like to be supremely organised, and I think this is just such a great idea. You can either keep it in the well of your car, or just on your worktop in the kitchen, wherever you make your shopping lists and that kind of thing, or indeed it would fit into your handbag or purse, provided it was a fair old size. So that was that one, and I got quite caught up in the concept as I was making it, and I thought, well, yeah, it's got a universal feel to it. It could be used for anything, absolutely anything. The children's school uniform, as you're going through their school years, and you might need to keep receipts and so on for, you know, taking stuff back and that kind of thing. Or if you did business parties for your husband and you needed to be able to collect the receipts and give them to the taxman at the end of the financial year, anything like that, it would be absolutely ideal. So I was very pleased to have found that little something. I then went on to number 86, which is a steampunk-ish kind of tag. I don't really do steampunk, and I've not really done anything quite like this before, but all of these components that I've used are from the very wonderful FERNLI designs. They do have a page on Facebook. The little tag, all of these cogs and so on came from that company, and as always I have to say that the prices are ultra special, not at all costly. So as a craft person, it's nice to have these kind of things available without spending the earth on them. The tag comes in a pack of 3 for under £2, well under £2, and then postage comes on top of that. But I know they do ship internationally, but you do have to give them time to get the postal cost organised for you. On the background, I've used a Tim Holtz kind of clock, which has been lost in translation really, but there are 3 timepieces there, and by the time I've put the wheels and cogs on, that's kind of taken a nosedive, but they are there to support the background. I've then used various colours of rub and buff and stamp paste, and then just polished it up, and it's bronze, gold and silver. And then added this little bit of chain through the hole here to act as a holder to be able to hang the tag up. The sentiment is creativity takes courage, and it's very applicable in this case, because I really wasn't sure how this was going to come out. I knew roughly what I wanted to achieve, which was a good place to start. I've distressed around the edge with archival black, and then on the back it's just an ordinary piece of DSP, which I actually backed on the front and the back to give anchorage to the mediums that I've used. I didn't want anything wearing or slipping off or just being lost in translation. So that is the lovely steampunk-ish style tag. Then I made the 2 sets of little twinchie books. You may well remember that I featured these as little projects the last time, going back a couple of weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks, and it was as a prompt from Nina Ibina's group on Facebook. And what they are 3 pieces of chipboard, which you then go on to add design paper to, and little bits of cutouts and that kind of thing. Then you thread the holes through them and put the little jump rings in to make them as little booklets. There's the back of that one, and I just used up tiny bits from another pad that I'd almost come to the end of, and I'm delighted to say that one has finally bitten the dust, and I have at least a 1/4 inch thick space in amongst my papers. But this is such a lovely idea. Now you could add another jump ring to it and use it as an addition to the spine of a journal or something like that, but just for a cute factor, they are absolutely gorgeous and a tremendous way to use up spare bits of card and paper. This is the second one, and I've just got love on the front, and it is for cat lovers really. I had 2 of these little tickets left from the Graphic 45. It's a cat and dog life, something of that nature, and home is where my cat is, with a 3rd ticket here separate to the main event. And then the final cat, if I bring it up for you, and I am considering putting some Mod Podge over these just to give them a little bit more, come in a bit more, a little bit of sparkle and twinkle, and to keep them pristine so that again they can be handled, opened and utilised without losing any of the design paper or anything like that. So that was another lovely little make that I enjoyed doing. And finally, number 88, I've made 2 sets of boxed stick pins, and I've just worked to my own pattern, put some designer paper on. The colours inside sadly don't reflect the decorative box, and then I've put this piece of ribbon around the bottom here, and that simply holds the lid in place. It's almost like a matchbook. You don't have to, strictly speaking, undo it, but it is anchored down at the back with some red line tape. And then these are the stick pins. Like I said, I've really not done a great job of coordinating the colours of the stick pins, but I have left the background white, and you can see they are really very pretty indeed. This is the blue collection, and I've just used some ordinary rondelles in between some of the beads, not all of them, but there's a lovely luster and sparkle, you know, ideal for any kind of project really, from cards to handmade flowers to pin cushions to whatever you'd like to use them for. These are actually quite long pins in their own right. If I take one out, you'll see I think they're about 4.5 inches, something of that nature. Yes, no, 3.5 inches, with the attached pearl on the top, and I've just built up the beads to fit in around the components that I've used, but they really are very, very pretty. I think these beads were gifted to me by Melissa Hatton, if I'm remembering rightly, and all I've done is made a square box affair. Oops, you can't afford to push the stick pins in too tightly, but if you look down through the tunnel, that just houses the stick pins until they are in the hands of the recipient. I do wish I'd used a blue paper now to do the box its justice, but at the end of the day it really is just like a matchbook, and you close it up like so, take the ribbon across to one side, and I have cut the little swallowtails into the ribbon to stop it hopefully from fraying, and that's how it comes together on, pull that really tightly, that's how it comes together on presentation. And at least the papers and the flower on the front are matched and well matched, and they're just sitting on a little cutout there to add a bit more support to the flower. So that's the first one, and then the second one is this lovely set here, and I again have married up the papers. They're really very pretty, and it is just ordinary DSP paper that I got at the range, I think, in a pad. And then when you open up, this is the purple collection, which is a little bit better coordinated than the other one that I showed you, and these are really, really very lovely too, from flowers to the rondelles to different shape beads, and then finally the little fire polished bead at the bottom. I've also used a little cut flower here. It's the same size of pins, but I think they just look so lovely in this setting, and again they can be used in a multitude, blue strand, of different projects and never ever actually go to waste. So I really did have a nice relaxing afternoon putting these together, and I hope you like what I've shown you and that you find a little inspiration in making something like this. Again, great for racks, great for little gifts, ideal for people who like working in material and lace, because they just fit into any project of that nature. So you know, it's quite a nice thing to do for someone, and it's not too weighty for posting out either, which is always a good thing. So I'll just leave that one open so you see the gist of what I've done, and the twinchies and the receipt book, and I'll widen out again and just say again, these projects take me up to number 88 of the hashtag DWP 100 Things Challenge. So I've got 12 more to do, and I've actually completed this mammoth task. And again, we'll thank everyone for their support, for their kindness, and for helping me along the road of this little adventure. I do appreciate it very, very much indeed. Take care everyone, happy crafting, bye bye for now.